do a roll call and declaration of forms, please.
Mr. Lau.
Present.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Present.
Mr. Tillman.
Here.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
I'd like to welcome the many visitors we have this evening. We appreciate you being here. Public comments, I have had no one contact myself, but
No.
someone contacted you.
sir.
And on the list, there are
None.
no speakers listed. Consent agenda. Anybody want to pull anything out of the consent agenda before we move forward?
I'm good with it. I have no concerns.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Oh, I hate when you do that. I'll just get to where I'm going and then you can click.
Are you-
Regular business.
You're not, somebody else must have follow on.
Ah, I got you. Regular business, 4.1, item 4.1. Discussion of possible board action regarding the following policies. District parent and family engagement, site level parent and family engagement, student recruitment, access to students and directory information.
So item 4.1 and 4.2 are basically the same thing in the sense that we recently had our desktop monitoring federal audit. Our new federal programs director, if you'll remember, inherited that title here not too long ago. So being under the gun, she had to go through, so I do commend her on the hard work she put in on getting this all together. But these are different policies, and then just like with the foster care plan that we'll talk about next, these are different policies that either what we had was outdated or we may not have at all. So through the OSSBA policy services, or literally what they would just tell you, this is what you need. So it's just strictly a compliance issue. There's not like at discretion policies that we've talked about before. These are what we've been doing that ties in with what meets the federal guidelines. Did I leave anything out on that? So. And once again, she deserves a big pat on the back.
There's a lot of good reading material in there.
Yeah, if you can't sleep, make sure you open that up and
She being Timberly?
being Timberly, yes.
Timberly, is it your recommendation that we?
It is Timberly's recommendation.
Based upon Timberly's recommendation, I moved. to
That's what I
approve.
told her. I said, if they have any questions, I want to just defer to you, so.
And I'll couple in 4.1 and 4.2 in my motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
New business.
No new business to act upon.
Item 6, superintendent's reports.
Okay, real quick on facilities, yeah, the drainage ditch and the tire store, we're just waiting, county on the tire store to come in at their discretion. We could pay to have all that concrete and gravel removed if we choose to do so, but the county has said they'll do it for free because they want to take that for riffraff, you know, and washouts, what have you. So we're not in a big hurry, so I don't see a reason to pay for it. And then the drainage ditch, still just waiting on the feasibility study to see if that's worth jumping across the road and running that down on the east side of Mitchell, the stormwater. And so once we know that, then the survey's probably done, should be done by the time we come back here for the next board meeting in December. So we're in good shape there.
The one question I had on that was in front of the, on the east side of the science building, that parking lot and so forth. Would we have to do a cut over there as well? Because you've got a lot of that drainage off.
They
the
would put 2 or
parking
3
lot.
drains along the side there that would shoot across.
Okay.
Yeah. Catch all the groundwater or the surface water. Yeah. So that's all I have on facilities. The wind tax, or the wind turbine lawsuit. So visiting with Carrie Turner, our county assessor, and this is, you know, every county is a little different on how they've assessed the value of the wind turbines, but also how they've used the production tax credits. And the production tax credits, that was what the lawsuit basically said, is that they cannot be taxed. They cannot be, it's not tangible property like, you know, a windmill itself is. So that is what is going to affect in that ruling. The Kingfisher wind settlement settled for roughly it will retain 52% of its value. So if you will open up that attachment that I put on the windsuit turbine,
Oh, when did you attach that?
about 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
Wasn't there earlier, was it?
No, it was not there.
It wasn't there.
Well, I waited till the last minute and I just got off the phone with Jordan and I was trying, Jordan Smith, our bond advisor, to see how it's gonna affect that, to see. And all of these, as you can, is yours opened up yet?
Yep.
Mine is not. As you can see, I make sure I highlighted, and you're good, I can look at hers. And like Carrie said, Jordan, the numbers are so rough guesstimates right now. So, but just based on if we used what the Kingfisher wind did, first of all, you can see the 4 years that we have as tax protest. And
Which
that is all,
document are you
that
on?
is all red dirt,
Which document are you on?
the one
Because I clicked on,
wind turbine lawsuit,
One document.
the attachment there, that's the only one.
well, I went to, oh, there was like 4 different ones open up. Okay.
Yeah.
That?
Is that it?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so you have the 4 years, and that's the amount each year. If that amount is the actual production tax credits, that amount goes away and we don't get a dime of it. So that 3.8 million, we may not get a dime of that 3.8 million if all of that protest is actually the production tax credits. Now, there may be some other things that it's protesting and it may wash out, so that's where Carrie, she has a meeting with the task force that does the assessments of these tomorrow, so she'll know a lot more tomorrow of what direction it's gonna go. So, so how does that affect us? And that's where I say that's the disclaimer here. So right now, our district net assessed valuation is 88 million. The Red Dirt Wind Project contributes 23.8 million toward that 88 here locally. So let's say that that was assessed and that was done at the same rate that they did the Kingfisher, and we only retain 52% of the value here. Then that means that will drop that NAV to 12.4 million. Okay, so that would then put us at a new NAV of 76 million. Okay, so what does that mean? If locally, we're going to collect roughly $400,000 less a year than what we should have collected. Now, we've never collected that money anyway because it's been an escrow. It'd be $57,000 in building fund, had that been resolved and gone in our favor. It didn't. Now, it does not affect us on state aid right now because we were so fortunate with the gross production. That local chargeable is keeping us so far ahead that right now it really does not have a bearing on the state aid impact. When it will is whenever we come off, gross production quits, then we have to go back on the state aid. That's when we'll feel the effect. But it's still at that point in time, it would never be a cut to us. It would just been what could have been. Does that make sense? So it's money that they kind of dangled out there, said you're going to get this, but we never did. So, but there's going to be a lot. These numbers will definitely change. Everybody, the net assessed valuation, back to the Jordan. I told you I talked with Jordan Smith, our bond advisor. So, sinking fund. We've been talking about, because that money's in protest, our sinking fund balance has a negative balance. We do sell the bonds and get more to be able to pay the sinking fund payment. But what that means now is they're going to use this year's estimate of needs numbers. Next year, when they figure the estimate of needs numbers, then that assessment will go to the taxpayers. So if 10 million comes off that Red Dirt was supposed to be paying, and we owe, $2 million, whatever it is, that means that amount is going to go back and divide it amongst the local taxpayers who are not protesting. So I think he had it, and I think I've got a projection sheet. It would be roughly to what, when the initial bond was passed, of the millage rate. So it's not going to escalate it and double or anything like that. It's not panic.
Would that be a 1 year?
It'd be a 1 year, and then, now, our net assessed valuation based on other local factors, there may be something else that caused it to stay the same, but I'm saying if everything else stayed the same or, didn't drop, didn't raise, then we would drop approximately 11, 12 million based off of when this actually is settled. And that becomes a negotiation between the person who assessed it and the county assessor and the oil companies. So there's a lot more information that will be coming to you. But based on what we have right now, I just wanted to give you, that's where we're at as of today. And that's why you got it 20 minutes for the board meeting, so. And that's all I have. And I wanted to say, the reason I jumped in front, I know it says here on the superintendent's report that the Eagles Works was gonna go first, but I wanted to deliver the bad news and definitely end on a good note. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Hallmark, and I appreciate all you guys showing up this evening.
Yes,
And look forward to this.
I'm really happy about that they're here. So, shut up, I'll come around to the side, because I'm gonna be really bad about going in front of the camera in a minute. So thank y'all for letting us come share. So it's been a trial and error kind of semester so far, but we're there, we've come quite a ways on this. So I thought I wanted to start by really quickly just telling you about the components of the whole program, all right? So, and Esri, I think I could use you now, dear. You want to go up there and hit that for me? That's our group there. We got t-shirts to take a picture in nicer days there. Thank you, dear. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Okay, so we partnered with Junior Achievement. I don't know how many of you have heard of Junior Achievement. It's usually something people have heard of, but they don't really know a whole lot about it. So we partnered with Junior Achievement, which is what most of the foundational schools that started the internship programs have done. Junior Achievement has been around since the early 1900s, 1920s, 30s. You know, at first it was Calvin Coolidge was president. He gave them recognition because they were taking the farm boys and moving them into the city so that they could get better jobs, because industrial jobs in the city that were there. So it's been around for a long time. They were actually up for the Nobel Peace Prize this year. They didn't get it, but they were up for it. They were nominated. So inspire and prepare, those are the two words that stand out as far as their mission. They want to inspire kids and they want to prepare them. So they want to give them all the skills that they need, role models, community involvement, and internships are just one part of that for them to have career readiness. So Edric, go ahead to the next one, Becky. And that's just kind of going over what is Junior Achievement. The purpose, I just told you, was to inspire and prepare young people. Now, what does Junior Achievement do for us? I was thrilled that we joined because it does a lot for me personally in my position, that I don't have to come up with a lot of curriculum stuff, because Junior Achievement has already got this from K on up to 12th grade. So, and this, what you're looking at in your blue folder tonight, is just a minute sample. It's not even near what all there's offered at the high school, okay? But I just kind of wanted to give a sense of what all they have provided for us for the program. So first thing is in a safe environment. So we can be assured now when the businesses have to fill out a form, their mentor has to fill out a form about themselves, and that includes if they've ever been in trouble, you know, or anything like that. So we want to make sure they're in a safe environment, okay? And they had to fill out a form as part of the process with that. They also provide us with our curriculum, which and the forms provided. Now the forms, if you'll look on the right-hand side of your folder, the first thing you saw there was kind of the history of Junior Achievement, which I thought was fascinating, so I'll leave that in there. You can take that part home if you want to. You can take any of it home if you need to, but I thought that was really interesting. But behind that, you're going to see the forms I'm talking about right now. The workplace host. The workplace host is the mentor. There's different names that you can call them, but that's basically who they're doing their internship under, the person that is over them. And then on the next one, you'll see the conduct standard. The conduct standard is real important because that defines the relationship between the intern and the business owner or the mentor, because some of these kids have more than one mentor at the place of business. So, and they have to sign off on that as well, just to keep the appropriateness of the relationship between the two. Know where the lines are drawn, okay? So preparation for the workplace, that's in the curriculum. So ideally, at the beginning of the year, in the fall, you want to have like a 6-week period or so where you are preparing the kids to go out. You don't just throw them out there, you know, because there's a lot of things that they take for granted. that need to be addressed, like cell phone etiquette and a lot of those soft skills. Things that don't really have anything particular to do with the actual job they're going to do, but they're soft skills that are in jobs that are wherever you are, no matter what you're doing. You have to have good cell phone etiquette. You have to be able to communicate. So Junior Achievement provides all of that, has the activities, it has role playing, there's all kinds of things you can do with that to prepare them to go out. Confidentiality was another huge one. So couple of things on confidentiality. I had one business that was a concern. So I had to address that, and with the student, and we did all that. So, and now she's actually getting to do more than what she thought she was going to get to do because they were so afraid, the confidentiality. But once she started working there and they got to know her, then they knew that they trusted her to do some other things, which is kind of exciting, and she'll probably share that in a minute. But so preparation for the workplace is those soft skills, and it's on the left-hand side. It's going to go through cell phone etiquette and all that stuff. So, and like I said, that's just the introduction. The real thing is about this thick, because the students have their own guide, the business owner has their own guide, so there's a lot more to this. I just wanted to give you a sampling of it. Insurance was huge, I think, for Mr. Sternberger. I think that was a good thing too, that they provide that $1 million policy. So covered driving out there, coming back. That was a real concern at another business. And I understand that totally. I mean, these two young men, they own their own business and they got to protect that. So they have every right to ask that and ask any questions. And I think we got them now. They have let both of the boys go out. They're working there now. So they felt comfortable enough after talking to, my Junior Achievement connection in the city, and going back and forth with all that and giving them the insurance certificate of liability so they could see exactly. And that is actually part of the forms that were on the right-hand side. It's the very last one. On one side, it has something that Mr. Faulkner had to fill out and sign, and on the back side, it actually shows the insurance liability and all that on there. So, and then a support system. They're a support system for me, especially. I could call Mary, that's the lady I talk to. If I have a question, I can call her at any time to talk to her about anything, and then she'll try to, if she doesn't know, then she's got somebody that she can talk to. So to make sure that we're getting everything smooth and going well with Junior Achievement. So this program is really, really awesome, and I'm so glad that we decided to do that and join that. Okay, so now another side of the curriculum is our courses. So before I was hired even, it was decided that when a kid did an internship, they would do an online course, a CTE course that would match with the internship they're doing, okay? So we're using eDynamic Learning. They've been around since about 2008, but they are the largest CTE/elective course online program that there is. They're used a lot of places. They were founded by teachers, and then they brought in experts in each field when they developed these courses. And I can tell you, because I've sampled now at least close to 20 of them through the kids doing them, because I have to do some grading on that. And then when I was doing them on myself, just doing to see what it was like, the classes are really excellent. They're excellent. They're a little tough. But they're really excellent. And so the first one they did actually was at the beginning of the year, before they ever left my room to go out into the field. We didn't do all the assignments on it because we didn't have time for that at that time. But workplace and internship readiness, and so that was an assignment they first had to read through those lessons. And in addition to what I was telling them about getting ready and going through with, they also did actually a short version of that course. So The units are all, the courses all look the same as the way they're set up. And on the left-hand side on the screen, you see there's always an introduction that tells them what they're going to learn during that course in that unit. There's about 4 or 5 lessons. They're not real long. They have usually a video in there, sometimes a podcast. So some other interesting things that make it stop so they're not just reading constantly. The podcast now, after that, actually goes over what they just read themselves. So it's a podcast they can listen to. I was told that was one of the most popular things about this course was that podcast. Then on their assignments, which I'm going to tell you up front, this is where we've done a lot of trial and error stuff that I had to cut way down on the assignments, because there are lots of assignments in a unit. There was no way that any child was going to finish that course in the amount of time we had. So the good thing about this, it's set up so that you can manipulate it any way you want. I can put my own assignments in there. If there's something I want them to have that they're not getting, I can pull out things. So we've done a lot of that. They know that, right, guys? The classes, yeah, they know. It was really, really a lot. Because I have a lot of kids who work, they go to internship, and then they go to work after that. And I've got some others that are really involved in the high school here. They're involved in programs, and they had no extra period. Most of the kids are, not all of them, but I would say maybe 50%. Half of them are having to do this course on their own time. So that's a challenge. And the others, some of the kids have a period in their day where they're able to work on that course. So CTQs, they learned a lot from those, I know. That's our short version of what we call critical thinking questions. They've learned that not all questions can be answered with one sentence. And so I told them at the beginning that you will not get an answer right if it's one sentence. I know that, because these critical thinking questions really make them, give me this, now give me an example, now give me this. So 2, 3, sometimes things they want there, okay? Then they have, and this is the most unique thing about eDynamic Learning, is they're project-based. So there's a lot of labs and activities. So but that's also the pretty cool part, because Raven here, we'll talk in a minute to you, but she, for instance, right off in criminal justice, almost on her first assignment, she was having to take fingerprints and do profiles, and it goes right into the stuff. It's like there's not a whole lot of, they put you right into doing this stuff, but she loved that. She was eating that up, so she got to go out and do that. It's kind of fun stuff, and the activities the same way. I learned really quickly on that everybody's doing a different course, except for a few kids that we didn't have courses for, but everybody's doing a different course, and so sometimes an activity requires this material, certain materials, and oh boy, wow, we don't have all of these materials, so I'm going to have to get materials for every kid, or I'm going to have to go back and look at this closer and make sure that we have everything they need, or if it's something that I can get quickly for them, I can do that. Flashcards are in there. And in the case of Esri, who's up there being my helper there, she's doing the class virtually. She's not doing an internship, but she did want to do a class. And so she's doing a class, and she's doing medical terminology. So she actually has to take spelling tests on hers, right? Because how important it is, for you to be able to spell those medical terms right. So she's got that extra on hers. And then they have their quiz. So yes, that's been cut down, and I'm going to get with Mr. Faulkner before second semester, and we're going to talk about it together. I'd like to have some input, and I'm going to go through, I think, and choose the lab and activity I want them to do to make sure they have everything they need to do it. So, but it's good. Those courses are great, but they are challenging. They're challenging too. Kids are evaluated. They'll be evaluated by their grade on the course. They're going to get an evaluation done from their mentor in the business, and then they're going to get an evaluation from me, right? That's the one they're afraid of. No. So I'm gonna, obviously attendance for me is huge for the workplace. So, attendance, being there, being willing to be there. I think everybody loves being where they're at. The easiest thing about starting this was going to the businesses. To be honest with you, everybody was so welcoming for this. I mean, I only had 2 places that it just wasn't the right fit. Not that they didn't want to take somebody, but it wasn't going to be a good fit, because, I assumed they did a lot of this. When they said, no, I don't really do that kind of work anymore. I do this now, so it wasn't going to work. Another one had a death in the family, and they were trying to get the business up and going again, so I understood that totally. And but everybody else, it was great. I mean, but everywhere I went, I either knew them, or I knew their grandparents, or I had them in school or something. So that made it a little easier for me probably. But anyway, getting them with a business was not really that difficult. There were some we could not do, but I would have liked to have, I've got a young lady that's doing nursing, and she I'd like to get her out to an office, but she doesn't have the transportation. So, but she is doing the nursing here with the school nursing, so she's learning that side of it. So, okay, Ezra, let's move on, dear. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking now, and you guys can just stand where you're at. I know they're so nervous. They're like, but I understand. Jalissa is first, and they're just gonna tell you a little bit about themselves and who their mentor is, their business. I've starred the businesses and the person who is the mentor because they deserve that. I'm trying to treat them with the utmost. It's whatever they want because they're the ones that are really, I had to make the attendance easy. I didn't want to make them have to fill out a form every day the kid came. Just text me if they're not there, Just make it easy. But Jalissa, go ahead and tell them, and you can see it on the screen there. Go ahead and tell
So
them.
my name is Jalissa. I'm a senior, and I am one of the students that got to go to VOTEC at Chisholm Trail. So thank you for that, for letting me go. And so I took this course because I wanted to learn more about how it is in the field. I wanted to see how they work, to see if I would like it, to see if I wanted to do this in my future as a career. And I was just like, I think I like it. It's pretty comfortable in there. And the courses I'm taking online are just about business management. It's not really accounting because it doesn't really fall in the field. And I really do enjoy it. I really do. So yeah.
And tell them about this is the young lady I was talking about who that confidentiality was an issue. You would understand. She's working for an accountant. Han Plummer is out of Enid. They don't have their sign up. It's Johnny Curran's old office.
Yeah.
But Cindy Evans, so it's Han Plummer. She's part of that, the Hennessy edition of that. But anyway, so she thought she might just be filing. And that's kind of what they told me. And I told her, I said, hey, here's the thing. You probably are just going to be filing.
A lot of
But here's what
organizing
you can do. You can go in, and her pick that picture when I went to take a picture of her. I was like, yeah, she is definitely filing. But anyway, she was buried in it. But they just weren't real comfortable, so I wasn't sure. But I told her, I said, even though, just ask questions. Ask a question every day. Think of a good question to ask them about what they're doing so that you can learn something about their job. But she actually, I was so excited when I asked her how it was going one day and are you getting to do? She goes, well, actually, I did a spreadsheet. They let me do a spreadsheet. And I loved what it was. So I want her to tell them what you did a spreadsheet on.
I did a spreadsheet about this person's casino gamblings because he goes a lot. And so I had a spreadsheet that was super long and it took forever for me to finish it. And then in the end, I had to calculate each month and then this year's and then the prior from last year. And I had to see the balance of it and they just wanted to see if you made more, you made less, and just to record everything. But that was it. It was fun.
I just thought that was too cool. She did gambling. I started laughing when she told me that. So I thought that was great. She also is, she's getting to finish up her what is it at CTTC? Is it the accounting, right? Her accounting there this year.
Yes.
She has been to several competitions and done really well. So really smart lady, girl, and she's going to go far with that. So we did the business information management because there wasn't accounting. but I thought that was the closest thing we could get. And as soon as she opened the first lesson, it was talking about counting stuff. So we knew that was the course that she needed. Thank you, Jalissa. Okay,
welcome.
next, Esri. Okay, Raven. Raven's coming up. Okay. Tell 'em
I'm
what
Raven Bedford. I'm a senior in high school, and thanks to this program, I get to go down to the Hennessy Police Station and do ride-alongs with some of the officers. One of my main mentors is Officer Christian Solis, but when he's not there, I go with Jonathan Looper. And one of my most distinct memories is that Looper bought a new gun and they needed to train him with it. So we went to this field and they put headphones on me and I got to be up close next to a gun.
That made me a little nervous. She told me that, but
We're
go ahead. I go, now who was there with you? No.
When another thing that I got to do is I get to be in the car whenever they pull someone over. They asked me one day, should we give this person a ticket? I was like, I'm good. I don't want to be in it. But this really opened my mind up to what being a cop is, and it made me like it even more because we don't just sit in the car and wait for someone to speed. We look at like what is suspicious activity. Why did that person get into the far lane away from us and slow down like 5 miles below the speed limit? And that's what made me decide to actually go to college, to Redlands Community College, and pursue the criminal justice courses there.
Great, thank you, Raven. And she, she's taken careers in criminal justice. So she's not just learning about a resource officer or even in a small town. And Mr. Solis did an excellent job when she first met him in my office. We visited with her for an hour at least. He really talked to her about, in depth, about all the different careers. Like, this police job looks nothing like this one, and he went into lots of detail about all the different things that you can do. And I said, well, the course she's taken is all careers in criminal justice. So she's having to make some, she's actually had to do some really fun things on that. And other times she's had to be a kind of like the judge and decide, she's looking at cases now. And it's really, that's why I said they get right into it, into the field really fast. So thank you, Raven. Okay, I don't think the next person's here at all. Okay, that's Brooke. Brooke Sims is a junior, and she is doing her, she wants to be a traveling nurse. She knows where the money is. So she would like to go out into an office somewhere, and I would love to try to get her there, but it would be moot point. She can't drive yet. So, she can drive, but she doesn't have a vehicle. She has no way to get there, and we've looked at that several times. But she helped with, she has done some help with the speech and the hearing, or the hearing testing, and the things like that. She's getting to see what a school nurse does, and probably getting to see a lot of the documentation side of it that goes on at schools, because I know what school nurses do. She's also taking the Health Science Foundation's 1A course and learning a lot. I tell you, the person learning the most from this is me, because I'm grading all that stuff. And I'm like, I didn't know that. I'm learning all this stuff from medical, from programming, from everything. So I really am learning a lot when I grade these things. So anyway, so she couldn't be here tonight. She had to go feed animals that needed hay with the bad weather coming in. So most of them had a reason they couldn't be here. So, okay, and let's read going. Okay, Ivan. This is Ivan Rivera.
My name is Ivan Rivera. I'm a junior. Thanks to this program, I was able to be with Triple M Transportation north of the town with Mike Rivera and Nathan Goff.
And tell me, what kind of things have you been getting to do? Because I didn't really get to ask you that, like out there. You actually were pulling, you were just something, an engine.
I pulled an engine out of a semi.
Yeah.
So,
I caught him that day when I went to take the picture. I thought it was such a cute picture of him, but he didn't like you to go. He was going like this. He was going, "Why are you taking a picture of me like this? I'm not doing anything." Like that was what he was telling me. But I told him you could take another picture the next day, when you're doing something, and this and I will replace it, but they didn't get that, so that's what I got. Mike Verka was great, totally with this program, totally, because he's got a great personal story about where he got, and I remember him as a kid. So notice that he's taking career discovery. Unfortunately, this is the one thing, and I called, that I wish eDynamic Learning had courses in welding, mechanics, and construction. Out of over 200 courses, which you guys have a list of all the courses there, they have over 200 courses, but they don't have those 3 things. And those are 3 things that I really wish they did have. And if I had more time, I told Mike has the manuals there that you study to get certified. And I said, I could probably come up with, I just need more time, but I could probably come up with curriculum and put it in to this course and make it. So what we did was we gave them a general career discovery. So it's going to kind of show them all different kinds of careers, because not all of them are sure that's what they want to do. Ivan, I think, is, right? You're pretty sure on this deal, right?
Yeah.
On diesel mechanics, so that's what he plans on doing. So thank you, Ivan.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Okay, next. Okay, Michael is not here. Michael just started, actually. So Michael, we were trying to get him on with Crimson Oil. They couldn't take him, but they said, I talked to Dana out there, and she said, oh, but no, wait, somebody that wants him. Iron Eagle wants him. Iron Eagle's Jerry Ashcraft, so some of you remember the Ashcraft kids, so from here. And Frank Patton and Mark Snodgrass, I think, are the 2 guys that really actually said we'll take Michael on. They're using Michael to do all different things. He's changing oil in vehicle trucks. They're working on a trailer out there. So Michael doesn't know for sure what he wants to do. Michael's really involved here with choir and band. So he may go to college, but his dad does similar work, and he's got some experience in this area, so he thought he would just, give that a shot for this semester. So he's fairly new. Okay, Ezra. Okay, Austin is sick. He went sick home. That's what he told me. He went home sick today, I guess. So.
He did.
Okay. He's had a bad bout for a couple of weeks now. I think he's been trying to get over something. But anyway, R&H, again, Colby Robertson and Landon Herrick were great. They wanted him. They were nervous. They were the ones a little nervous about the insurance and the liability. So when they were comfortable enough, then we were able to go ahead and send those guys on down. And I caught both of them working the other day when I went down there. Hunter is another one of our students who's there. And he was doing something out. Now, Hunter has no experience in this, so he's just experimenting, just looking around to see what he might be interested in. Austin, on the other hand, grew up with his dad doing this kind of stuff. And notice that his course is the Introduction to Military Careers, because Austin's dream is to go into the service and hopefully get some experience with this while he's serving. Then when he comes out of the service, he wants to own his own mechanic shop. So Colby, I haven't talked to Landon very much. I've said hi and I've seen him, but Colby has worked for a big company before, and he's done the private business that he's doing now. So he knows both worlds, and he said, and they're totally different. He said, I will make sure he understands what the difference is when you're working for a big company and when you're working out on your own like that he's doing now. So that was interesting. They were both really good about that. They just wanted that one little thing, to clear up for him and make him feel better about it. So, okay, next. Okay, Araceli, Design and Architecture.
As Araceli Lopez, I'm a junior in high school.
Talk louder. A little louder.
I'm a junior in high school, and I internship at the Mercantile with Stacy Klein. As we all know her, she is a very busy woman. I'm doing interior design. My main focus would be architecture, but there isn't an architecture program in the eDynamics, so I'm doing interior design, which is the closest thing. And so basically what my course talks about is a lot of architecture, actually, and the different types of architecture, which is really interesting. You know, there's commercial, residential, lighting architecture, there's another one. Well, there's a lot, yeah, landscaping, lighting, you know, and there's a lot, and then there's an interior design portion of all that, which goes to the color theory and what certain colors make certain people feel, and the reasoning why certain buildings have, why certain rooms are painted a certain color for a specific reason, or like why, like the emotions that people have with certain colors, like primarily, like most people know red as either like anger, love, you know, that kind of stuff. Or, but like in marketing and deals, you know, we all know McDonald's and a lot of fast food chains, red is a big color because red is what attracts us. And so, you know, fast food chains have a lot of red in their design because that's what, you know, attracts one to their business. And so I thought that was really interesting. What I do at the Mercantile, well, since this client isn't really there very often, so I mainly just work on my course. But when she is there, she does help me a lot on the course, and she tells me a lot about how she got into the interior design field and how she's renovating a lot of houses, how she has a house in Colorado that she's been renovating. And so I think that's really cool, and yeah.
Okay, good job. She actually wants to do more of, I've got the perfect place for her. It's in Enid, but she works at Walmart in Kingfisher. So they're actually more closer to what she wants to major in was kind of architecture design, which is different than interior design, but at the same time, she's learning, again, the things that she's had to do, and then I have to grade them, is amazing. Like, you know, design this room, and then what would you do to, you know, all these questions, and then they have to do this project, and she always comes up with the most beautiful project. So I understood finally what she was trying to tell me about what she really wanted to do, and she says, well, it's not about do the pillows match the curtains. That's what I'm trying to say. And I said, I got you now, okay. So architecture design, and there is a group in Enid that have taken interns before that do exactly that, but that's not going to work. But she is learning from her interior design class, and so I think that she enjoys that too, but we were hoping we'd get her up there, but it's not going to work for her schedule this time. Okay. Leslie. Hey, Leslie.
My name is Leslie Carrillo, and I'm in graphic design. So
she's at CTTC,
yeah.
Finishing up her grad. She again she has won all kinds of things, like been recognized for her graphic design stuff. So, and I'm going to brag on her a little bit more in a minute. She does not like to type. Had to tell her she's going to go down and introduce herself to the owner. And she was like, are you going to do it? And then I said, yes, you are going to do it because I can't go with you today. So you are going to do it, and you can do it. And so she did. So I know this is hard for her too. She's not real crazy about this sort of thing, but go ahead.
And my mentors are from Royal Signs with Terrell Prince, and if he's not there, I usually work with the other workers, and I usually just job shadow, and the things I do at Votech and CTCC is basically the same thing I do there as well, but more advanced. So,
yes, right. And did you tell him, what was your favorite project that you worked on?
I got to help with one of the school signs with the lights on it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you like that even better than Dover? Because I know she worked on the Dover. You guys noticed the Longhorn down there on Dover Schools now. She helped with that. The workers told me. So when I went there that day. In fact, you can sit down now because I know you don't want to stand anymore. In fact, she got a really big compliment, and I'm saving that for right now. I haven't told you. That the secretary there said, you know, there was a day Terrell was out, you know, he's out a lot, you know, because he's a busy guy. So but he's got great help there that she's under. But they said, well, we got in a bind one day. We needed something done on the computer here. You know, I couldn't get a hold of Terrell. I said, Leslie, come here, you know. Bingo, she did exactly what they needed her. But again, she's doing digital design through CTTC. But she did that, and then they said, you know, if we have we need help this summer. They're thinking you might be available to be hired. So keep it up, okay? She may have a summer job from this. So that place was amazing. I saw machines, I had no idea what they did, but it was so fun to watch. Watching them wrap the vehicles and all that, I have never seen. Go ahead. Okay, Hunter, I already talked about RNH. He is there with Austin. He just went out. And he was working that day. He was doing something, actually he was doing something wrong when I got there, because I think the guy was, Landon was correcting him about something he was doing there, but I probably distracted him a little bit. So, but anyway, great kid, not sure what he wants to do, but wanted to try this out. So, okay, Ezra. I wish Carlos was here. Carlos has an extraordinary story about him. So, Carlos is doing welding, that's his interest. I had a hard time for a while finding somebody, not long, because when somebody said, oh, you should go to Energy Meter. The welding thing was that so many of them go out on jobs and they can't get back in time. You know, sometimes if the kid, now he doesn't last period, so it's not a problem, but you know, if they have to be home at a certain time, you know, and they can't be caught out on a job somewhere in Fairview, you know, if they're, so, Molly, a great business. She was just great. She so believes in our kids staying here local and trying to keep them here. It's a real worry for her that we're going to lose our kids. So she wants to offer them this. And for Carlos, it's worked out great because he was already kind of working at a job. But anyway, it wasn't a week, and I got a call from Molly, and no, he brought in paperwork for me and said, can you fill this out? And I said, well, what is this? And he said, well, I'm going to fill out, you know, W-2 stuff. And, you know, I went, wait a minute, what? So they actually hired him. He's part-time because he stays after, he does his 7th period as a school, and then afterward, he's on their time and their insurance and everything there, you know, and he gets paid. So I said, let me make sure that Hennessy's going to be okay with that. I think they will be, but I need to make sure because we always tell them, you know, they do not expect to get paid. And none of these guys took a job expecting to get paid. So, but sometimes you have a business that wants to keep them, and so he's good help. So anyway, that's Carlos. He's welding away. So anyway, and I think that might be, Andres. Hey Todd, what you say about Andres? I like Andres. I think he does a good job with computers. I think he's in his right field for sure. He had just fixed something for me that day. Todd had left. You had just helped me with something and you left. No, it wasn't. Todd fixed it. Todd had left to go do something, and I said, Renee Curry was in there. I said, let's get Andres. He's in there right now. You know, let's see if he can do it. So, because Renee couldn't do it. Now, don't tell Renee I said that, but she couldn't do it. So, anyway, so Andres came in, and he worked at it. He goes, this isn't right. This should be doing this. He worked, and he worked, and he worked, and he finally got it. He did it. And so that's why he's got the thumbs up. Of course, he had no control over the monitors, which were, I think, with a problem. So the next day, Todd brought him some new monitors for me. But it was still, Andres is definitely in his niche with the programming stuff. He wants to go to college and get his degree in that, actually, into programming. So anyway, so, okay, next. Okay, Jennifer, and Jennifer couldn't be here. She's, they had an emergency kind of a procedure, one of her siblings at the hospital, so she's not there today. Jennifer wants to be a para for a teacher. She wants to be a helper, be a regular teacher's aide. She'll have to get a certification for that. And but the best pictures I've gotten are from Miss Black, I think, because she sent me so many, but they're all so good of Jennifer. Jennifer loves it. Jennifer's doing 2 hours over there. She goes over there 6th hour, 7th hour, and she's ecstatic every time. She doesn't even like to come see me when I call for her because she doesn't want to leave there. So, you know, so she's doing a really good job, Taylor says, and she's taken the early childhood education program or online course, okay? Oh, we have virtual learners. One of them is touching my little pad up there for me tonight. That's Ezri. Ezri, you want to tell them what you're going to do and where you're going, or what are you planning?
I have to.
Yeah, you stand.
My name is Esri Viverka, and I plan on going to Rose State for radiologic technology. Sorry, I have problems saying that. It's like x-rays and like, I could do ultrasounds if I wanted to continue my career. I've been taking the medical terminology course, and I actually started kind of late because I was messing with my schedule too much. So I was a little behind, but I'm starting to catch up now. And it's actually really fun. I've learned a lot more than I thought I would, because my friend is taking a class through Redlands on medical terminology, and there's some stuff that I've done that she hasn't. I recently did a slideshow on all the different types of movements, and that was really interesting to learn, like hips and joints, like all this stuff, like ball and socket and stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
That's it. Good, good. Thank you, Ezra. And like I said, she's the one that has to take those extra spelling test lessons that nobody else has to take. And then Hannah, Gray's not here tonight, but she's doing medical assistant. She's interested in, she's got a couple of interests, and she's not totally sure. But that job, she did want to go ahead and do. I think she's interested in going to tech after high school and maybe doing the surgical tech stuff, and that medical assistant kind of fits with that. So, and then Victor's also doing the intro to programming that that Andres is doing. They're virtual learners only. It means they want to they're taking the course, they're not doing an internship. And that was, for at least two of them, that was their choice. They didn't have room, they didn't want to do the internship, they just wanted to do the course. So we're using those courses for those kinds of things too, so. Okay, I think that's it. Is that the last slide? I think that's it. So anyway, so that's where we are. Here's where I hope we'll be. I've got several more coming in since, unfortunately, we lost the game last week. So I think I have 3 more coming in from that. And then I'll be at Career Day this Friday doing a session on promoting the program, so that anybody who thinks they might be interested could either hop in next semester or next year. And then when enrollment time comes, we'll be hitting it again really heavy with Jill and then like so. And they, by the way, Hennessy had great paperwork already in place before we even got with junior achievement. I was really impressed. It was a lot better than what we had at Enoch actually. So those two did a really good job of getting that far with that. So, and I appreciate all their help and, you know, letting me vent with them and like so. But anyway, thank you guys very much, and I will let these young ones go because I promised them when they were done they could go.
Thank you once
All right,
again.
thank you, guys.
You get extra credit for having to do that.
Thank you, Mrs. Hallmark. That was very interesting. Moving on to personnel, 7.1, employment of the following employees for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year: Maria Fox Lara, elementary paraprofessional, and Jara Simonek, student worker at $10 an hour.
Move to approve. Oh.
Is that what your
That's
recommendation
my
is?
recommendation. Wouldn't be on there
What about
otherwise.
Timberlee's?
Timberlake?
I'll still make the motion to approve.
Even with his recommendation?
Even with the recommendation.
I'll second.
Mr. Lau,
Aye.
Mr. Choate,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Mr. Tillman,
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Item 8, adjournment.
I'll second.
As my recommendation.
I'll just
Yes,
put
yes,
mine
yes.
in this thing.
Yes.
I'm sorry.